What's going on, chat? So today we've got a really interesting deck for you. I had played against this Kaisa list in the last Thursday night fights. I don't have the exact list, but I'm basically just trying to rebuild this off of memory or the cards that I saw. So this deck was really interesting. The only units that I saw them play was this Immortal Phoenix and the Kaisa Champion. So let's go over that. The Immortal Phoenix, when you kill a unit with a spell, you can pay 1 in a red to play it from the trash. So the whole deck is legit just removal, you know, standard Kaisa things here. So we got the Hextech Ray, falling 3 Hextech Ray, 3 Falling Star, 3 Void Seeker. We'll be playing 2 Disintegrate and 2 Comet, 3 Singularity, 3 Rains. These you don't see all the time in regular Kaisa, but you also don't see no units, right? And another key card is Garbage Grabber. So that way we can just keep drawing cards and playing more removal. But we can go over that in a little bit. So the battlefields for this deck are Aspirin's Climb, Sigil of the Storm, and Obelisk of Power. So here we've got Aspirin's Climb in game 1 just to, you know, smooth things out for us, where we'll make the game harder for the opponent to win. We're going to choose Sigil of the Storm when your opponent is going first, so that their going first advantage is slightly mitigated. You know, they can't just double conquer without, excuse me, they can't double conquer without you know, some cost to their rune development here. And our going first Obelisk of Power, so that we can do just a lot of different things. We can have Void Seeker on turn 1. We can have Energy Conduit and Hextech Ray. We could play a Phoenix on 1 if we wanted to. But yeah, so the Obelisk of Power will just open up a handful of things for us. And generally, a lot of the time when you're playing a control-y deck or a larger deck, Obelisk of Power will just let you get to your more expensive cards faster. So that's generally why you'd want an Obelisk of Power. Let's go over the deck list now. We're playing 1 Kaisa here. So yeah, we're really kind of short on space. I guess you could put in a second Kaisa somewhere or a third one if you really want to. Yeah, so we can go over a little bit of changes that we could make, some flex slots. So that would be one of the candidates for maybe including 2 more copies in the deck to move up the unit count to 6 total. But honestly, you might not even need to do that one. We're playing 3 Seal of Rage here because the deck is just very expensive on energy costs, and you have an Immortal Phoenix here. So you're gonna keep needing to pay this red, and Kaisa Legend cannot pay the red for the Phoenix, so that's why we're playing the Seal of Rage here. A lot of the removal options are pretty standard. You got the 3 Stupefy here. As we said, the Garbage Grabber is here in a longer game, so that you don't go through your entire deck and get to 0 cards in the main deck. So you'll eventually draw this card. That's why you can get away with only 1. Or if you suspect that your opponent has gear removal, you can play the second one. But we can go over that option. Another option would be Dr. Mundo. So this could be a flex slot for a Dr. Mundo, but that is, you know, at your own discretion here. See, Shakedown is another interesting card. So the fact that Shakedown is reaction speed means we can do it at a lot of weird times that you usually can't deal 6 during, right? Like, so for example, if an opponent baited hook, uses baited hook, we can try shake it down and almost always draw 2 cards in that situation. But yeah, a lot of the times you will be drawing 2 cards because most opponents will want to keep their units against you. Since your whole deck is removal, they're probably short on units. So one interesting card is Energy Conduit. I think this card is very vital because some of the turns you will be actually going down in runes, and it helps you keep up in rune development, giving you the power that you need to actually play the game a lot of the time. Ravenborn Tome is very interesting because sometimes it lets you hit the breakpoints on certain things that need to be removed. For example, Ravenborn Tome will make both points of damage from Singularity deal 7 here. Disintegrate is mostly another slot that we have just to smooth out the early game, and it allows you to draw a card a lot of the time. So that's why that card is here, and so is the Falling Comets. Same reason. Interesting card here is 3 Progress Day, kind of just to find more to reload on removal. So once the opponent gets low on units on the board, you just do a Progress Day and get more removal and look for your Phoenixes. So sometimes when you don't draw your Phoenix early enough, the game gets a little stalled out. You guys will see that in the gameplay a little bit, where we draw Phoenix probably like more than as our like 25th card or something. But something that this build of Kaisa has unique is 3 Acathian Rain. That's not normal, but it goes a long way in keeping the boards clean. And you can put them back in the deck with the Garbage Grabber, which is insane. It does come up once in a while, but not that often. And yeah, that's the main board. A lot of flex slots to work with. You could maybe even turn this into an Orb of Regret, but that's like a totally different conversation. So the sideboard looks like this. This can also have a lot of different options. So the Time Warp can be a Dr. Mundo, and so can Garbage Grabber. I presumably you'd want something like that in the mirror. But so we'll go over this. 3 copies of Unchecked Power is really good against the Aurora decks, since they generally have a limited amount of units. You can actually kind of just run them out of units if you have enough removal. So for example, one thing that Ravenborn Tome is good for is you can go ahead and use this ability on Ravenborn Tome, and your Falling Star will deal 8, which is actually a relevant breakpoint. So you could kill a Dead Bloom with that. So that's an interesting case for when Ravenborn Tome is better than Orb of Regret. Firestorm is just against smaller units, decks, or maybe even Hook, and that's the deck. The deck list will be in the comments and description, and here's the gameplay. Enjoy. What's going on, chat? So today we have a pretty interesting matchup here. We're playing against the Garen, and hold your judgment. It's gonna be a long match, so just hold your judgment for a second and just watch the games play out. Spoiler alert, it's going to be Hook Darius, so they will be making lots of tokens, and we're gonna have to be dealing with I don't know how many tokens this match. Opponent also does not have a sideboard, so we'll be focusing on the game ones, but that's quite all right. So here we have an Aspirant's Climb battlefield that we've chosen, and opponent has a Candlelit Sanctum that they've chosen. We've mulliganed 1 Stupefy, looking for more removal past the turn. We probably should have mulliganed another Void Seeker or something, or maybe this Comet, but we'll see. Oh, no, we drew the Comet off mulligan. But anyway, so opponent starts with a Hawk, and this is when we decide to play our Immortal Phoenix first, just so we can get some pressure on the board, since one thing we do know that about Hook is that they play smaller units, so 3 Might unit can actually stop them from getting on a point or getting onto a battlefield, so that could be pretty helpful for us. And that'll also deny them Candlelit Sanctum activations, so they'll be able to see, they'll get less card selection. Opponent moves their Soaring Scout to the Candlelit Sanctum, getting their first point, and they'll be able to look at the top 2 cards of their deck. So opponent's gonna go ahead and play their Baited Hook here. And they're gonna go ahead and pay the cost for Baited Hook. They're gonna kill their Soaring Scout here, so they can look at the top 5 cards and play top 5 cards of the deck and play a unit with 2 or less might. And when the Soaring Scout dies, it'll also channel a rune exhausted, meaning that the hook essentially is net zero on power, and opponent finds a faithful manufactor and makes a recruit. So, like we were discussing last turn, we can move this Phoenix to a battlefield to deny them some points and some looks at the top of their deck. So we're gonna go ahead and move the Phoenix to the Candlelit Sanctum. Look at the top 2 cards. Yeah, I don't think we need any of these. We're looking for some ramp here. Something like energy, what's it called? Energy conduit, or some seals. So we're going to go ahead and play our second Phoenix here to try and keep our opponent off of the battlefields. Another option that we had is to just use or hold up some removal. And that would give us access to Acadian Rain next turn, but we've opted for this instead. It is fine, because if we are able to get 2 Phoenixes onto the board, or 1 Phoenix to each battlefield, we'll be able to deny the opponent some points here. So opponent plays a Pit Rookie from their hand and buffs the Faithful Manufactor. They're going to send a recruit to the Aspirant's Climb and get a point here. So the opponent's going to go ahead and use Baited Hook on their Faithful Manufactor, and their Faithful Manufactor has 3 might, so that means they can get a unit with up to 4 might. So that includes a few things. Expectral Matron would be one of them. This time they actually have Machine Evangel, which is very interesting. That is a unit that makes more units. So that could give us a lot of problems here for our deck. And opponent plays a hidden card to the Aspirant's Climb also. Presumably it'll be Hidden Blade. And the opponent will pass the turn, and we're figuring out like how exactly we want to play this out here. We're going to move our Immortal Phoenix to the Aspirant's Climb, and it's going to die to Hidden Blade, so we'll be able to draw 2 cards here. We have 6 runes available, so we couldn't Acadian Rain even if we wanted to. We got a lot of problems here, because if they just keep holding, they're gonna end up winning. We're gonna go ahead and use a Void Seeker on the Evangel, so they're gonna get three recruits to the base here. This one's a little rough situation for us, though. That's still 5 might in the base. Yeah, and then we're gonna use that. When the Evangel dies to the Void Seeker, we're gonna go ahead and use our Phoenix ability to get it back from the trash here, and then pass the turn to the opponent. So the opponent plays Garen from their chosen champion zone here into their base. So that means all units in their base get an additional might, and then they're using Baited Hook to target to kill the Pit Rookie that was in their base that has 3 might as a result of Garen. So that means they can get a unit up to 4 might here. So that could be another Evangel, that could be a Spectral Matron. So it's a lot of problematic cards that could be. Opponent will be playing a Faithful Manufactor, so that's lucky for us that it didn't hit any of the scarier cards here. Opponent is moving 3 recruits to the Immortal Phoenix, so that they can they're trying to just go ahead and trade with that. So that's gonna happen. And opponent moves their recruit back on the climb back to their base and passes the turn back. So we're gonna go ahead and move this Phoenix back onto the Candlelit Sanctum here, and we're gonna bottom both cards. We're still looking for some things to help us with our runes. We're gonna go ahead and play Acathian Rain and clear the whole board. Three procs to Garen, one to manufacture, one to each recruit. So it's exactly enough to clear the board here, and we'll just pass the turn back to our opponent. We are at 5 runes going into 7. So opponent's gonna go ahead and play a confront. So all their units will enter ready, and they're gonna draw a card as well. They've got 6 runes left to work with, which is a lot here. They're gonna play an Evangel, and that's gonna go ahead and take care of our Phoenix there. And then they're gonna get a point, so they also get the Candlelit Sanctum trigger. So you guys are gonna find out the secret combo coming right up here. The opponent uses Baited Hook on the Machine Evangel, and it'll die, and they get a unit from the top 5 cards of their deck that's up to 5 power here. And because the confront was played earlier this turn, all the units are going to go ahead and enter ready. And what's crazier is that opponent gets a Kiana here from that Baited Hook. So the opponent is sending all 4 units that they had ready because of confront. They're sending all 4 to the Aspirant's Climb here, and they're going to get the Garen ability here to draw 2. And they're also getting Kiana, and they're going to draw 1 more card from that. So they drew 3 cards off of that, which is insane. And we're going to go ahead and take our turn here. We have 7 runes available, so we've got a lot of work to do in terms of clearing these units out. We do really want a red seal, but looks like we're not getting one this game. And we can tell it's going to be a very long game here. So we're gonna go ahead and play this Void Seeker. So we had to use Kaisa and also an additional rune for a power. Yeah, we need to pay the deflect cost. That's why we're paying an additional one. And we are also bringing back both of our Phoenixes here. So we have some board presence. So we did find a seal. We just don't know what is going to happen with it. That's another question to be answered soon. So opponent plays a Soaring Scout, and plays a Call of the Week. So their Soaring Scout will go to the graveyard, and that trigger will happen, giving them an additional rune. So opponent uses their Baited Hook on a recruit here. They'll be able to get a unit from the top 5 up to 2 might here. Opponent chooses a Pit Rookie from those 5 cards, meaning that they'll be able to give a recruit a buff here. Opponent moves their recruit with the buff on it back to the base here, and they have 4 runes left for their turn. Opponent is paying 2 or 3 for a Vanguard Captain, making 2 more recruits. So that's a lot of might to deal with in their base, and we don't have a Acathian Rain. So this is actually going to be a problem. They also play a hidden card to that Aspirant's Climb that has a recruit on it. So that could be problematic. Opponent is at 6 points, but they need to get to 9 points. So we have some breathing room here, but not a whole lot. So we're going to go ahead and send in our Phoenix to the Aspirant's Climb here and see what the opponent does. They're going to go ahead and use the Hidden Blade on our Phoenix, so we are able to draw 2 cards, and there is the Acathian Rain. Yeah, but the biggest problem with this Acathian Rain is that we are only at 6 runes here, so we will not be able to use Acathian Rain. An opponent is at 6, so we're in very big trouble. Yeah, opponent has way too many units on the board. This is where we concede. Game is irrecoverable for us. They they have a nearly guaranteed win. Like we can't even stop them from scoring 2 points next turn. And opponent's showing us a few cards in their hand. Yeah, we definitely can't win through all that because opponent goes to 8 runes next turn and they'll have an Evangel, and yeah, no way we can stop them. So here we're gonna go ahead and choose our battlefield. We will be going first here after losing game 1. So we're gonna choose Obelisk of Power. Yeah, we want to keep Sigil of the Storm for when the opponent is going first. So opponent's battlefield will be Treferian War Camp, and our battlefield will be Obelisk of Power, and we are going first. We're just gonna go ahead and mull for some resources here. We're looking for Energy Conduit and Seals. So we're going to go ahead and take our first turn. We drew Progress of Power and passed the turn. We're just holding up Void Seeker, but we're not going to use it. Opponent does have 4 runes though, so this could be a very dangerous situation for us here. So here the opponent plays a seal, a yellow seal, and a Vanguard Captain. This is probably one of the best turns that Vanguard Captain decks can make. And yeah, we're gonna have to really get over that. This is gonna be a tough game for sure. So we're actually just gonna go ahead and pass the turn back to the opponent, keeping some runes available. Opponent plays Confront to draw a card and make all units enter ready. Not too relevant for this situation. Opponent will play a Soaring Scout readied here though. So that is a little bit relevant. So if it goes on a point and dies, then it will go ahead and channel the Maroon. And opponent plays a Sabotage to see what we've got in our hand. Not very effective because all the cards are essentially just replaceable versions of each other. Opponent here takes our Falling Star. So now the opponent sends the Soaring Scout to the Treferian War Camp like we had discussed, and they are sending a recruit into the Obelisk of Power. Now I'm trying to figure out exactly how to play this. I'm going to go ahead and play Disintegrate and draw a card when that recruit goes in. Opponent will have an opportunity to send in another recruit here, but we kind of had to do that because opponent will just pass the turn and we won't get another opportunity. So opponent is at 2 points to our 0 points. We do have to be a little careful. So this is very good for us since we've drawn an Energy Conduit. It'll help us keep up in rune development here while we just try and remove everything. So we're gonna start by playing our Energy Conduit. We'll be left with five energy available to use this turn. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and send this Kaisa to Accelerated to the Treferian War Camp to draw a card and pass the turn back to the opponent. So we have no runes up, but we did just draw an Acathean Rain after that combat. So this is very good for us. We probably should have sent it over to the Obelisk of Power just so that they don't get the trigger from the Soaring Scout, but here we are, you know. Opponent plays a Confront with 5 runes available. This is a little scary here, and the opponent has the combo again. So they're gonna go ahead and ram the Machine Evangel from right there into the Kaisa, so it will die, making 4 tokens, and they're gonna send all the 4 units in their base to the Treferian War Camp, and it will draw them 2 cards here, and each of those units are gonna get the bonus from the War Camp, and they all gain 1 might. But luckily for us, we will be able to still use Acathean Rain to clear that board here. We've drawn another Energy Conduit, and that'll allow us to use Acathean Rain and Energy Conduit, or Energy Conduit into Acathean Rain. Yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and play an energy conduit here and just rain the entire board. This game state is looking pretty good for us currently. Opponent does not have a baited hook and only has 3 cards in their hand and 2 seals. So this is very promising for us. Opponent is at 4 points to our 1. So opponent goes ahead and plays their baited hook. It's a little late, but not impossibly late. They're playing a Soaring Scout to their base and using a baited hook on the scout to get a unit with up to 2 might from the top 5 of their deck here. So the opponent actually misses on the baited hook, so there are no units coming out of that. And opponent will have 3 runes left. Opponent passes the turn to us, which is an extremely good sign for us. So we're gonna go ahead and play a progress day here using the Kaisa legend for the blue power, and we draw 4 cards here. We're gonna take it very slowly here. We're just gonna go ahead and play an energy conduit past the turn, and we do have a stupefy up to kind of reduce the quality of their hooks. We'll find out if that is relevant this game. So opponent is playing a Darius to their base from their chosen champion zone. We have 2 runes available. Opponent will pass the turn here. So we have 13 energy available to us. We're gonna go ahead and just falling star the Garen immediately, get it out of here using our red seal and our Kaisa. Oh no, we just use our Kaisa here. But we did play a red seal. Oh no, we did use it. Okay, so we're gonna do another progress day, draw another 4 cards. Yeah, at this point we are playing as an embarrassment of riches here. We've got 5 runes still available to use, and we have 3 stupefies to shape their baited hooks. Yeah, so opponent plays a pit rookie and tries to use baited hook on it, so I'm gonna go ahead and stupefy that. Opponent can only get a unit up to 2 might, and there are not too many good options in there for that. They can't get a Vanguard Captain anymore. So opponent is able to get a Faithful Manufactor from that baited hook, and that will make a recruit to the base. Opponent still has 9 runes left to work with here and 3 cards left in their hand. They're gonna go ahead and pass us back the turn. We've got 13 runes available and a red seal. So opponent has only 2 units. We're going to go ahead and singularity the Faithful Manufactor and the Recruit, which is seemingly overkill, but if we can just keep them off of no points, we were going to do it every time because we need to really get to our Phoenixes. So the opponent has played Spectral Matron here. They're going to go ahead and get a Vanguard Captain and make 2 more recruits. And that combo is insane because that makes 9 whole might, and it's not easy to clear with Acathian Rain clears it exactly. And they're gonna go ahead and hook the Vanguard Captain. So that'll be a unit up to 4 might. Maybe we should have stupefied that, but that's quite all right. Opponent will get a Kiana here, which is another thing that they can get off of the hook, and it has deflect, so that could be very troublesome for us, honestly. But we do have like 10 cards in hand here, so we're in a very dominant position, and we do have 14 runes available, or 14 energy to work with here. An insane amount because of these energy conduits. So we're gonna go ahead and play our second seal, And we're going to Acathian Rain their entire board here. And we're going to have to pay Deflect twice. Because we sent 2 at Kiana, 2 at Spectral Matron, 1 on each recruit. So that's exactly 6 as the Acathian Rain demands. So we're going to go ahead and use 3 runes for power, Kaisa, and a seal, which is insane that we pay 5 for that. But we've got more than enough to really absorb that cost. And we still have 7 runes ready for in case they play something with Accelerate. But actually, opponent will go ahead and play a Faithful Manufactor here. Opponent uses Baited Hook on the Faithful Manufactor, and that is 2 might, so they will be able to get a unit up to 3 might here. Would have been a decent time to use Stupefy to keep the Vanguard Captain away, but they already have 2 in the grave, so the chance of that are a little lower. They've went ahead and played this Faithful Manufactor to base, so they did not hit it. So we just passed the turn to the opponent. We can pretty much just destroy everything that they try to do. Just very silly. And we've got 13 whole energy to do it. So I'll play a Fallen Comet to destroy their Faithful Manufactor here. Opponent sends a recruit to the Trifarian War Camp. We're going to go ahead and use a Void Seeker, and we're trying to find our Phoenix. And we do not find Phoenix. But we found a Garbage Grabber, which will help us draw a lot more cards a lot faster. And we do have 15 cards in library, so only 15 or 0 Phoenixes in the top 25 is actually kind of crazy. So opponent is actually going to go ahead and send the recruit to the Trifarian War Camp, and we're going to try and deny the draw from the Hidden Blade with Shakedown. I'm actually not sure if you can do this. You can leave in the comments if that is against the rules. I don't think it is, because it needs to know the controller, but anyway, yeah, leave in the comments if it is. So we use Shakedown and we draw 2 cards there, and they play a Kiana and pass the turn back to us. So we've still not drawn the Phoenixes, which we will have lots of problems if we don't ever find them. Yeah, we're gonna start with a Garbage Grabber here. Funny enough, we are running out of space on the board to actually put all the gears on. We have 6 whole gear. Thermal Beam would be crazy here. So we're gonna go ahead and recycle 3 units in order to draw a card, and that'll be 1 Kaisa and 2 Acathian Rains that we used this game. It's crazy to say that out loud, that we used 2. And we drew an Immortal Phoenix, our first copy of the Phoenix this game. So we're gonna go ahead and pay 3 with the Conduits and a Seal. So yeah, we're about to be able to score for once. And we've still got a lot of runes to work with. We've got 10 whole runes to work with here. So we're gonna go ahead and play the Ravenborn Tome here. Paying 3, we've got 7 runes left. That's a lot to take care of this Kiana, and we can even pay the deflect cost a few times. Opponent is playing another Kiana from their hand here. Opponent sends a Kiana to the Trifarian War Camp. I'm gonna go ahead and play a Falling Comet targeting Kiana and using Seal of Rage to pay the power. I could have used Kaisa Legend there to pay that cost, but that's just a very minor sequencing difference that could be relevant in other situations, but not this one. So the opponent is actually going to go ahead and Baited Hook the Kiana they played earlier this turn. I think they're trying to get something a little better quality here, which they have. I think Evangel might be better. Okay, so they did actually find that Evangel here. So opponent's got 5 runes to work with. What they're doing is using Call of the Week on the Phoenix. So that would show us why they really wanted to get rid of that Kiana. They just needed more recruits on the battlefield so that the Kiana doesn't die. Opponent will pass the turn back to us, and they have 3 recruits in the base. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and use Garbage Grabber, returning a Singularity, a Falling Star, and a Void Seeker back to the bottom of our deck in order to draw a card here. And we found our second Phoenix here. So we're gonna go ahead and just play a second Phoenix using the 3 conduits and a seal. And we've still got an insane 12 whole energy left to work with here. We're going to go ahead and Singularity 2 tokens here just to prevent the opponent from being able to score points. And with that, we're also going to go ahead and use a seal and a rune or one energy to get back our second Phoenix. So we have 2 Phoenixes now that will maybe be able to score some points unless the opponent has some removal. Opponent goes ahead and uses the baited hook on the remaining recruit there. They are not sending it to a battlefield and to try and see if it lives. Opponent has found a pit rookie from their baited hook, which is a minor upgrade, but not too much of an upgrade there. And they will be playing a Vanguard Captain as their second card from their hand. And that means that they're able to get that Legion trigger. And we're just going to go ahead and try to shake down and get rid of that Vanguard Captain. Opponent tells us to draw 2 cards. And we've drawn our 3rd copy of Icatian Rain. So we are in a very good spot because we're just going to be able to double. Oh, we finally found our 3rd Phoenix, but I guess it's long overdue at this point. So we're going to just begin with the most obvious line here. We're going to go ahead and play Kaisa and we're going to go ahead and spend the energy using, or the power using Kaisa and the 2 seals. So we're going to go ahead and use our Garbage Grabber again here. We're going to put back a Falling Comet, our 3rd Icatian Rain, and our Singularity back into our deck here. And that'll allow us to draw a card, and it was a Falling Star. So we're going to go ahead and send our Phoenix to the Triferan War Camp and to the Obelisk of Power. We are at 3 points to our 4 opponents' 4 points. We're going to go ahead and play our Phoenix from our hand. And we're going to go ahead and pass the turn here. Opponent's going to go ahead and play a Harnessed Dragon here. And that will go ahead and get rid of one of our Immortal Phoenixes. So we're going to go ahead and take our turn. We're going to get 1 point for holding with the Phoenix on the Obelisk. We're going to go ahead and Falling Star here. And that will destroy, we'll use both 3 damage points on the Harnessed Dragon. And when that happens, we will get a Phoenix back from our trash here. We're going to also use a garbage collector to recycle 3 cards and draw a card. funny enough, we never draw a card. We actually just have too many cards at this point. And we, oh man, we just play our progress day as well. And we're gonna draw 4 here. And we've drawn another Falling Star, Shakedown, Singularity. We have so much to remove everything, even if they played in the base, which is probably the craziest thing about this deck, that a lot of we have at 9 cards that hit the base, which is extremely unusual, and they even hit multiple units in the base. So that's why this would be the best control shell here. Opponent plays another copy of Harness Dragon, and that will get rid of our Immortal Phoenix here. We're going to go ahead and shake down to try and get rid of that. And opponent says to draw 2, and we've come back full circle and drawn our first 2 Acathian Reigns. So, yeah, that's how long that this game has been going. That we are already at our 43rd card, or 42nd card, excuse me. We're back to we've already touched our 42nd card of the deck. We've drawn so many cards. It's insane. So we actually go ahead and stupefy their pit rookie that they're trying to baited hook, so that minimizes the amount of hits that the opponent has, and they go ahead and bottom 5 cards because that's a miss. They said that it was because of that stupefy. So sometimes that is something you do want to do, is to stupefy or smoke. So we draw the Falling Star that we had put to the bottom many turns ago with the garbage collector. And opponent does concede here because they have no more units, and we're just gonna go ahead and double score. So we're going to go ahead and go into game 3. We had lost game 1. We've won game 2 after maybe 35 turns, or 30 turns maybe. Maybe less, actually. We drew with progress day twice. We might have won in 22 turns or something. But we will be going second this time. Opponent will be going first, and our battlefield for that situation is going to be Sigil of the Storm. That is our last battlefield when the opponent is going first. The opponent's battlefield going first will be Zon Warrens, and we're going to go ahead and begin game 3 here. We will be starting with a seal, so this is pretty good for us. Falling Comet is probably one of the weaker removal cards that we can have against against Garen, or hook decks in general, so we're going to go ahead and get rid of that. And we're starting with an Energy Conduit going second. This is really good news for us. Yep, so opponent plays a Soaring Scout, it passes the turn, and we've drawn a second Energy Conduit. This is pretty good for us, but we will need to draw a lot more action after that point. Because of this conduit, we'll also have access to turn 2 Singularity, which is pretty good to have the decision on. And so we play our Energy Conduit, and we still have one energy available to us. So that means we could have Hextech Ray here. At least opponent should think about Hextech Ray, but it shouldn't really matter because that's a Soaring Scout, right? So opponent sends their Soaring Scout to their Zone Warrens here, and they're gonna go ahead and get a point and discard a card to draw a card. And they discard a baited hook, which presumably means they already have one. So, for us. The sooner that the baited hook deck gets to play baited hook, the scarier things get. So the opponent goes ahead and plays a baited hook here, and they're gonna immediately use the baited hook here. And the baited hook will allow the opponent to search for a unit with 2 might or less with a from the top 5 of their deck. And also the Soaring Scout dying will give them a rune back here. So the opponent gets a pit rookie to their base. So it's somewhat a free upgrade, but opponent will also pass the turn back to us. So now we've drawn 3 energy conduits, which is a lot of energy conduits to have. We're going to go ahead and play our second energy conduit, and we're just going to hold up our Void Seeker for now. And the reason we don't play Kaisa here is just to play around Call the Weak. Opponent goes ahead and plays Confront here, draw a card, and all units will enter ready this turn. So opponent plays Vanguard Captain next. And all of these units will be readied here. Opponent sends a recruit to the Zonwarans. And yeah, the question is, do we do something about it here? This may be our last chance to interact on the opponent's turn. We do have 4 runes available for this. So opponent will go ahead and get the point here. We're not going to Void Seeker. So the opponent discards a card and draws, and they send another recruit here at the Sigil of the Storm. So we're gonna go ahead and Void Seeker this this recruit here. Draw a card. Ooh, we've drawn a Falling Star, which is pretty good for us. Opponent sends a Pookie to the Sigil of the Storm, and they'll at their third point here. They're recycling a rune as a result, and they are also Oh, they're gonna baited hook their Vanguard Captain, looking for a Spectral Matron here. Unlucky for us that we don't have Stupefy. And they've found the Spectral Matron, yeah, so we could have a lot of problems here. Let's see how we get out of this. We are at 0 points to opponent's 3 points. So yeah, opponent does have 3 cards in hand. We are a little bit ahead on advantage. Not really. They have so many units. So we're gonna go ahead and play a seal here, a red seal, and we're gonna Falling Star targeting the pit rookie and the Vanguard Captain. So what this does is it makes it so that if they want to score another point, they're gonna have to put more units on that Sigil of the Storm, and when they conquer it, they're gonna really disrupt their own rune development. They're already at 3 runes, and they'll be at 5 runes. It'll at least make it a little easier for us. And we play our third energy conduit. We have 5 runes available here. We have five left, or 5 energy left to work with. We're gonna go ahead and accelerate this Kaisa into the Zonwarans here. So we'll be scoring our first point. We're gonna go ahead and draw a card before we get the Zonwarans ability. And then we'll discard a card. Discard a card to Zonwarans in order to draw another card here. This is a required effect, so we don't have a choice. And we'll discard our second seal, and we've drawn Ecathian Rain. So that will give us a huge chance to just be able to clear anything that they play. But they do have 4 cards. This is not going to be an easy game here. So opponent is sending in 5 might onto the Zonwarans, and they will be able to score a point here. We'll be able to take their Spectral Matron with our Kaisa. And they have to discard a card to draw a card. They have 3 runes left. They're going to use, or 5 runes left, and they're going to use 3 to play a Faithful Manufactor here. Now, they're also going to use Baited Hook on the Faithful Manufactor. If their best hit is probably something like Vanguard Captain. And they found the Vanguard Captain, which is strangely enough okay for us. So opponent moves their recruit to the sigil of the storm, and they get their 5th point here. So this is slightly concerning, but you know, we're in a pretty good spot, all things considered. We have exactly enough to get rid of everything on the board. We're gonna start with a shakedown to try and get rid of, or to try and draw 2, but that honestly was very bad because it's a very obvious thing that they just let it die. So that was definitely a mistake, but we will be able to get rid of every unit here. And we're going to pass the turn back to our opponent. We have 1 rune available. So opponent will be playing Faithful Manufactor, and they're trying to get a unit with 3 might or less. But we go ahead and stupefy the Faithful Manufactor before it dies to the baited hook, so they can only get a unit up to 2 might. And they have hit a Soaring Scout here. So we are in a little interesting position here. We have 10 runes to work with for this turn, but opponent is at 5, so 5 points. So that means they cannot win next turn. We're gonna go ahead and play a progress day for 6 and draw 4 cards here. So we'll have a lot of removal options. We're gonna go ahead and play a Phoenix to our base using our seal, and we're going to pass the turn with 1 rune up, and that is Hextech Ray. So opponent will not be able to score 2 points this turn, definitely. And opponent plays their Phoenix to the their Scout to the Zonwarens, and they will get to channel and a rune exhausted, but they will not get that point. So yeah, opponent plays their recruit to that Zonwarens, and they will get to their 6th point, which leaves us pretty vulnerable to, you know, some confront action. Opponent could just do something like confront and Vanguard Captain, and it'll spell the end for us next turn. But we might have some tools to play around such a thing. Opponent plays a Kiana to their base here. Opponent also plays a Pit Rookie to their base, generating a buff and placing it on their recruit. So opponent plays a hidden card to the Zonwarens with their buffed recruit and passes the turn here. So our turn, we've drawn an Acathian Rain, which is very helpful, obviously. Let's see. We do have 11 runes available here, or 11 energy available. So we're going to go ahead and play a Falling Comet to the Zonwarens so we can force them to get rid of that Hidden Blade there. Opponent will be drawing 2 cards, but that'll allow our Phoenix to live here. And the problem here is that we have, or the reason why we did that is because we have exactly enough runes to singularity the remaining units here. We aren't able to get a Phoenix back, but yeah. So we're gonna go ahead and send our Phoenix to the Zonwarens, scoring our 2nd point of the game to the opponent's 6th point. And we're going to go ahead and discard our Raven Bloom Tome. And we're going to go ahead and draw a card and get a singularity and destroy their remaining 2 units. So opponents will play a Kiana from their hand, and will play a Pookie and applying a buff to that Kiana there. Crazy thing going on here is that the opponent will be using their baited hook on their buffed Kiana, allowing them to find a unit with up to 6 might here. Opponent will be replacing their Kiana with a Machine Evangelist here. So that's a little bad for us because of the way that our hand is laid out here. We have an Acadian Rain, which can't exactly clear that Machine Evangel here. Opponent will pass us the turn, and yeah, oh boy, we've drawn a Falling Star here. So we actually can clear their entire board. And we'll score our 3rd point from holding. So we're going to go ahead and Falling Star the Evangel. So that'll get the 3 recruits out of it. And we're going to go ahead and Acadian Rain the 4 remaining units here. Which is kind of insane that we spent all this to do so. But, you know, that's kind of the position we're in. We have to keep that board as clean as possible because they are at 6 points. They could score. They could score 2 points on us, and it will be very bad here. Opponent goes ahead and plays the Garen from the champion zone and passes the turn back to us. And we're gonna go for a shakedown on the Garen here. The opponent says no drawing 2. We will not be drawing 2, and the Garen will die here. We're actually just gonna go ahead and play Progress Day to draw 4 cards anyway. We do have 3 runes remaining here. So we're at 4 points to our opponent's 6 points. We are closing the gap in points now. And we are just playing more might to the Zon Warrens because we cannot win next turn no matter what we do. So we're just trying to make it so that opponents cannot confront and win from this position. Opponent will play Sabotage, and it does not do too much because we have 2 singularities in our hand. Yeah, so because we're at 4 points, we can't win next turn. No point in spreading it out there. Yeah, so we're going to go ahead and reach 5 points for holding and just pass the turn back. We have a lot of ways to disrupt the opponent here. We've got 2 Stupefies and a, what's that called? A Disintegrate. Opponent will go ahead and play a Harness Dragon, getting rid of one of our Phoenixes here. And they're gonna go gambling. They're gonna go gambling here and try and get another Harness Dragon with their hook. And they did not quite get one, but they were able to get a Vanguard Captain, which is not too shabby here. So we're going to go ahead and take our turn. We get 1 point for holding there, so we'll be at 6 points. We're going to go ahead and fire off our Singularity here. We also get a Phoenix in that exchange. And watching the footage now, I noticed that we have forgotten to pay the cost for that Singularity, but that would really not make a difference in our rune development at this point of the game. It's still a mistake to make, but here we are. So the opponent plays a Primal Might for 8, making the recruit 8 might here. And funny enough, we have exactly enough to out this. We play a Stupefy, so it'll go down to 7 might. And we draw another Phoenix. If we play our second Stupefy, it'll go down to 6 might here. And we play a Disintegrate. So we're going to go ahead and deal 3 points of damage to that recruit. So we will have exactly enough damage remaining from the Phoenix to get rid of that 6 might recruit. Opponent does have 5 runes left to work with here. So opponent will pass the turn to us. We're going to move our Phoenix to the Zon Warrens, and unfortunately for us, the Phoenix will die here. Now we're just gonna play the Phoenix. We're gonna play the Phoenix from hand and pass the turn back to the opponent. We've got Void Seeker, and and Hextech Ray and Disintegrate to stop any units from accelerating out and scoring on us. So opponent will be playing Kiana from the hand and using Baited Hook here to try and get something a little more resilient. I think they're just looking for, yep, there it is. I think they're just looking for their next copy of Evangel, because it's a little more resistant to removal here. So the opponent just plays a Baited Hook and another orange seal, and an orange seal, and they pass the turn back to us. They're just getting the cards out of their hand at this point. So we went ahead and drew for turn, and we have a shakedown here. Now we need to consider exactly if we want to get rid of that unit, and I think we do. So opponent, we're going to go ahead and go to the Zon Warrens, getting our 7th point here, and discarding a shakedown to draw a card, and we've drawn a Garbage Grabber as a result. We're going to go ahead and put a Cathian Rain, Falling Star, and Kaisa back into our deck here, recycling those 3 cards to draw an additional card. Oh, we only have 7 cards left in deck. So now we've got a few decisions to make. Pretty much just need to get rid of as many units as possible here. We're going to go ahead and play, what's it called? A Falling Star, using both to destroy the Evangel, and opponent makes 3 recruits, but we use Agathian Rain to destroy all 3 recruits, and we pass the turn back to the opponent. So we just make it impossible for the opponent to win the game here, because they only have 1 card, and that's the end of the game, chat. We've went through a lot of cards here, and opponent drew a seal, and we win the game on holding. Yeah, thanks for watching. If you actually made it this far, leave in the comments if you guys want to see any other decks played, or if you have any suggestions for this deck. Also, just a little disclaimer, don't bring this deck to events because it takes too long to win with. Okay, I'll see you later. Bye.